Not knowing where they are, that's the worst thing. Riding around and running the sewers and the gutters anywhere. Be anywhere. Just hope you can stay alive from day to day. Everybody just wants to go back home and go to school. That's about it.
You lost any friends?
Quite a few. We lost one the other day. The whole thing stinks, really.
This is Hue City in South Vietnam, once known as the cultural capital of the nation, a place of temples, gardens, and schools. Today, it is a battlefield. For more than a week, United States Marines and South Vietnamese troops have been locked in a brutal combat with North Vietnamese and Vietcong forces, who struck here in strength as part of the Tet Offensive. The enemy came with thousands of men, weapons hidden in advance, and knowledge of the narrow streets. Entire neighborhoods have been turned into strongholds. Streets once filled with students and families are now barricaded with rubble and bristling with rifle fire. For American and South Vietnamese forces, Hue is not just a fight for ground. It seems to be a fight to retake the nation's soul. The battle for Hue is unlike much of the war in Vietnam. Here there are no jungles or rice paddies, but narrow streets, stone houses, and walls that seem to trap every sound and every bullet. The Marines advance slowly, often no more than a block or two in an entire day. Each building is cleared the hard way, with rifles, grenades, and when necessary, flamethrowers. The enemy fights from basements, rooftops, and even from behind false walls. Sniper fire echoes from the church towers and second-story windows. A patrol never knows if the next doorway hides a family seeking safety or a squad of North Vietnamese waiting in an ambush. For civilians, it is terror without respite. Families flee with what they can carry, moving through streets strewn with debris, praying not to be caught in the crossfire. For the Marines, many of them new to Vietnam, Hue is a lesson in the cost of every yard gained. Across the Perfume River lies the Citadel, Hue's old imperial fortress. For centuries, it was the seat of Vietnam's emperors. Today, its high stone walls and thick gates have become a redoubt for the enemy. North Vietnamese regulars hold the Citadel with heavy weapons, and every attempt to drive them out has been met with fierce resistance. Artillery shells and rockets strike the fortress daily, yet the walls still stand. To the Marines, the Citadel has become a modern-day castle, with every gate and trench bitterly defended. Commanders say that taking the Citadel is essential. Without it, Hue cannot be secured. But those who fight here call it one of the toughest assignments of the war. As the battle grinds on, the toll mounts. Medics work constantly, often in the open and under fire, treating wounds from shrapnel, bullets, and grenades. Some Marines wait hours before helicopters can risk flying them out. Others are carried on stretchers through streets that only minutes before were swept by enemy rifle fire. American commanders do not release exact figures, but casualties are heavy. Privately, officers admit that progress is measured not in miles, but in feet and inches. Men who were students or clerks only weeks ago now crawl forward on their bellies, faces gray with dust and exhaustion. For many, Hue has been a baptism of fire that few could have ever imagined. In an effort to break the stalemate, American commanders have turned to artillery and air support. The thunder of howitzers shakes the ground day and night, while jet fighters roar overhead. Bombs and shells strike enemy positions hidden inside temples, schools, and even in private homes. The destruction is immense. Entire blocks have been flattened. What was once a city of gardens and pagodas now lies in heaps of brick and dust. Commanders argue the strikes are necessary to dislodge the enemy, but for people of Hue, the price is their city itself. The smoke rising from the ruins is not just a sign of battle. It is the sign of loss, of a way of life. The battle for Hue has already lasted far longer than anyone had expected. And still, there is no clear end in sight. For the civilians who once filled these streets, it has meant terror, displacement, and loss. For the Americans and South Vietnamese, it has become a test of resolve, with every block and every stone bitterly contested. Hue City, once the jewel of Vietnam, now lies scarred by fire and shelling. The Marines say you may get used to it, but you'll never get over it. And tonight, the outcome of this fight still remains uncertain. Hue has become a city of barricades and gunfire. Marines move forward slowly, often just a few yards at a time. Sandbags are piled in doorways, windows are shattered, and every street is a trap. The enemy has fortified houses and hidden weapons in basements and attics. Progress comes only when Marines fight through walls, blasting holes with grenades and moving room to room. The advance is measured not in blocks, but in blood and sweat. Each house is a battlefield. Marines kick down doors, rifles ready, never knowing if the next room holds civilians or enemy soldiers. Grenades are tossed into stairwells, and machine guns sweep the upper floors. Snipers are everywhere, firing from rooftops, from church steeples, and even from behind collapsed walls. When Marines take a building, they leave markers for those behind them, knowing another squad may need to hold it tomorrow. It is exhausting, dangerous work, repeated hundreds of times across the city. The men are under fire day and night. Mortar shells crash into the streets without warning. Marines hug the ground as bullets whistle overhead. At times, artillery and airstrikes pound enemy positions just 100 yards away. The shock waves roll through the city. The rubble rains down on the men below. Yet the Marines keep pushing. They fight not only the enemy, but fatigue, hunger, and fear. The commanders call Hue one of the hardest battles of the war, and the young Marines who endure it say they will never forget these streets. You've been listening to a broadcast of the Frontline News Network.